We start with Saturday's huge showdown at the World Cup. England against the reigning champions France in the quarter-finals. Kyle Walker is the man with the rather unenviable task of stopping perhaps the most feared player in the world right now, Kylian Mbappe. But the Manchester City fullback is far from worried. He's backed himself to keep him quiet and stressed that this match is not just about one battle. Let's go live, shall we, to our senior reporter Rob Dorset, who is in Doha for us this afternoon. Hi again, Rob. We'll get to Walker and his battle with Mbappe shortly, but first, tell us some team news. Declan Rice missed training today, didn't he? Should we be worried?
Yeah, I think we should be worried. I think Gareth Southgate will be worried. And if you put it into a wider context, Jules, this is a bit of a concern for England, who are facing something of a depleted squad right now. Remember, Ben White returned home last week because of personal reasons and won't be rejoining the squad. Raheem Sterling is still in London right now, or just outside London in truth, with his family after they had a break-in at home, and we don't yet know if and when he will return to the England squad. And then today we saw that Callum Wilson missed training again because he's nursing what has been described to us as a minor strain, but that's the last two proper training sessions that he's missed now. There was a game in between as well, so he's been suffering with that for some time. And add on top of that, probably the most significant and the most worrying about all of those is Declan Rice, who missed training today because of what was described to us as an illness. Now, an illness can be many things, can't it? Gareth Southgate and Rice himself will be hoping it's not too serious and they can get back out on the grass tomorrow. That one, by the way, is behind closed doors. It's away from the cameras, so we won't know if Declan Rice is back in training tomorrow. And the significance here is the fact that today was the first of 3 full days of training that England have to prepare for that huge game against France in the quarter-final on Saturday. Declan Rice has missed the first one. They'll be really hoping he doesn't miss the second. And as if to compound it all, another bit of bad news for England today. Kylian Mbappe, who missed training with France yesterday, he's back out on the grass today. We're not seeing him because they're doing a session behind closed doors, but any concerns over his health and fitness seem to have been answered by the French FA.
You mentioned Mbappe there. It is going to be Kyle Walker. Well, he said in his press conference, if I'm selected, I think we all assume he will be. He will be the man who'll be trying to stop Kylian Mbappe. The positive from an England perspective is this is nothing new for him, is it?
No, he's done it before, and he's done it to some pretty good effect when he's played for Manchester City against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. He's played against Mbappe 4 times, Kyle Walker, so he's got the experience. He knows what it takes to try and stop him. But this was some performance from Kyle Walker inside the England media conference room here in Al Wakra today. If he performs half as well as that on the pitch on Saturday, England fans need not be worried because Mbappe isn't going to get a sniff. The way Walker spoke today, it was Churchillian-like in its rallying cry to the rest of the squad and to England's fans that he can do his best to deal with Mbappe, and England should do their best to cope with the best of the rest that France can throw at them. Here, I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Walker.
The game's not England v Mbappe, the game's England v France. As I just said there, we take respect that he's a good player in good form at the minute, but I'm not going to roll out a red carpet for him and tell him to go and score. You know, I'm representing my country at a quarter-final of a World Cup, so it's do or die, really. You know, if we lose, we go home, and you know he's not going to stand in my way, and hopefully winning, you know, a World Cup for my country. I think when we've played them the 4 times in the Champions League for Manchester City, you're not just thinking about Mbappe, and I think it's exactly the same on Saturday. You're not just thinking about Mbappe. Okay, he's a tool that they've got in their armoury that's very good, but there is other good players, and we can't underestimate them players that, you know, have won big titles, won World Cups. So, okay, he's a great player. We all know that. That's why all the questions are about him. But let's not forget Giroud, who scored countless goals for France and in the Premier League. Dembele, who's, you know, for me just as good on the other wing, and a very tricky player. And then you've got Griezmann and stuff like this, that these players can cause you a problem. So, okay, we take her out to him. He's a great player, but for me, all the questions probably shouldn't be about him. We should appreciate that we're seeing a great footballer, but there is other players as well.
Yeah, it was an intriguing press conference earlier, wasn't it? He spoke so well, as you say, some rousing answers. Plus an update on Dave the Cat, who's certainly taken a shine to him in the England camp. On to more serious matters, Rob, and England's hopes at this World Cup. Of course, semi-finals last time round in 2018. Could you argue that England are better equipped to go one step further this time?
I think you could. Kyle Walker and a lot of the other England players certainly feel so, because they had that experience of 4 years ago, and there was no expectation on England when they went all the way through to the semi-final in Russia. Such was the form of that England side going into it at major tournaments. They've had the Euros since, of course, when they've made it to the final, missing out to Italy on penalties. So yeah, the expectation and belief in that England squad, I think, is higher now than it's probably ever been. I sense a calmness amongst it. There's none of the euphoria, maybe the excitement that we saw in the Euros in England. It's a little bit different here, a bit more business-like, a bit more, well, we expected to get here and we expect to go further as well. That said, Kyle Walker is pretty adamant that some of the other nations are a lot better as well. Have a listen how he explains all of that and where he sees England in the world pecking order right now.
We are a good team and we can achieve, great things. And I think that it will ultimately give us the belief that we can actually go on and win this. I'm not saying that we don't believe, but to beat a big team like France in a quarterfinals match and the reigning world champions, you've got to take some confidence from that. Not arrogancy, but confidence.
So that's the perspective from the England camp today. Really, really interesting. Go to skysports.com for more on what Kyle Walker had to say, and we'll have more throughout the night for you on Sky Sports News as well, because there was some great stuff in there from what the Manchester City fullback had to say, and more from my colleague Melissa Reddy as well, who's been with the France camp today. What's the perspective from them, where we're just 3 days away now from that huge quarter-final, which could be a final, couldn't it, in all but name? England against France in Qatar. It's going to be a special one.
Rob Dorset in a windy Al Wakra. Thanks very much indeed. Well, all eyes on Walker and Mbappe's duel then, and as Rob told you there, it has been confirmed that Mbappe will return to training with France tonight. He underwent a recovery routine yesterday evening while the rest of the squad had a light session on the grass. He wasn't involved with his teammates, but he will be tonight. Big boost for France and the tournament's leading goalscorer too.